In this video, I will discuss the connections between the art sector and money laundering. We will review some interesting stories of money laundering, talk about how the regulations evolved throughout the years, touch base on NFT, of course, and by the end of the video, I will also share where you can find some industry key risk indicators. So let's jump right into today's video. The legitimate art market is itself enormous, with a single transaction able to reach millions of dollars in value. An example of this is the sale of Jeff Koons' rabbit sculpture, which was sold in 2019 to an unidentified buyer for $91.1 million, breaking back then the most expensive item sold by a living artist.
Of course, 67 million. 67 is the bid, 68 will be next. At 67 for the beautiful Koons.
To give you a better idea on the scale of this sector, according to the IMF in 2018, the global art market was estimated to be worth over $67 billion. With such great volumes and flows of money, of course, also great risks are presented. The risk of money laundering in the art sector have been in fact classified as high for several years, with the art market being abused to cover many money laundering schemes and activities. The same IMF publications highlights also the amounts of US dollars linked to money laundering by the art sector. The United Nations Office on Drugs and Crimes is reporting that the underground art market, which includes theft, fakes, illegal imports, and organized looting, may bring in as much as $6 billion annually, with the portion attributed to money laundering and other financial crimes in the region of $3 billion. An interesting case that I discovered while I was researching the connections between the art sector and money laundering is the story of Matthew Green, a British art trader who was convicted of money laundering in the United States. Green was a high-profile British dealer of famous painting who was convicted in 2011 of smuggling hundreds of millions of dollars worth of stolen or forged art into the United States. His work in the art trade and connections to money laundering activities were brought to light thanks to an investigation that was run back then by undercover FBI agents when Green agreed to sell a fake Picasso on behalf of the undercover agents, with the aim of facilitating $9.2 million in money laundering from the sale of that painting. Of course, the case of Matthew Green is not an isolated incident, and it's easy to understand why the art market has traditionally been vulnerable to money laundering, given the high prices involved, the mobility of the pieces, and the secretive character of the business. Such a large industry created many concerns during the years, as the regulations in place were not sufficient to control the exposure to money laundering and terrorist financing. For the mitigation of those risks, the art sector needed to be regulated. The industry regulation journey started with the Proceeds of Crime Act in 2002 in the UK, followed by additional changes introduced by the 4th and 5th AML directive, all with the aim to better control and reduce the risks between art and money laundering. The latest introduced AML rules from the EU directives are affecting a wide list of art firms, traders, and intermediaries. In fact, the revised legislation is applicable to both firms or sole traders that, by way of business, trade in or act as an intermediary in the sale or purchase of work of art, or who is the operator of a free port when it or any other firm or sole practitioner by way of business stores work of art in the free port. So now you might be wondering, what's a free port anyway? A free port is not a recent invention. In fact, it is rather a very ancient principle in place by hundreds of years. Back then, cities, states and countries approved those duty-free zones to attract more transit of goods via their ports with the objective to stimulate growing economic activities. Free port in comparison to import for the domestic market are subject to reduced tariffs, and as they are considered in transit, little or no due diligence was done to uncover who is the ultimate beneficial owner of the stored goods. However, for how long those goods can be considered to be in transit is what makes Freeport an attractive place to store art and other goods purchased as a result of money laundering operations. The usage of free ports extended throughout history, first across Europe, then the Caribbean in the 18th century, and finally to the rest of the globe in the 19th and 20th century. A couple of examples of how modern free ports looks can be seen in Luxembourg, with a stunning building located inside the Luxembourg airport. Or another example is in Geneva, where the old free port structure originally built in the 1800s has evolved throughout the years, with the latest building inaugurated for business to clients in 2020. So as of January 2020, EU-based free ports are now included in the regulation and are therefore obliged to comply with the due diligence process, and they are also required to have processes in place for the identification and reporting of suspicious activities to the relevant jurisdictions. Since we are talking about art and money laundering, I think it makes sense to cover the risks presented by NFTs. But before we dive into the next part of this video, if you are enjoying my content, make sure you subscribe to FinCrime Agent and press the thumb up on this video. This will make it easy for you to watch new videos published on my channel, and your actions will help this video to be seen more on YouTube. So thank you for your support. Let's now talk about NFTs. We've seen the connections between art and money laundering via traditional art businesses, but I'm sure you have come across the term NFT a few times already in the last few months or years. NFTs have gained a lot of interest, in fact, from the creative sector, since they allow artists and other producers to monetize their works. They also allow potential art buyers and investors to acquire a creator-approved original copy of any digital work of art. As NFTs are based on the blockchain technology, the ownership is also confirmed and recorded on a decentralized network. However, the trading of NFT has been highlighted as a possible money laundering hotspot. This is because most worldwide regulatory regimes don't expressly control NFT platforms. Many don't apply the required KYC processes to check users' identity. As a consequence of this, when due diligence is not properly completed on beneficial owners, it creates a very fertile ground for money launderers and cybercriminals in general. But let's bring up a few examples. An example of tax evasion can easily be created when someone buys an NFT for a high price, then sells it to a third account they indirectly own for a lower price to lower their tax obligations. CyberFraud is another area. On the Rusi portal, for example, they shared this incident where an unknown hacker created a digital work in March 2021 and sold it as a limited edition Banksy print. He also managed to hack Banksy's official website and put a link to his NFT. The token went up to £244,000 and was actually sold, although in a final twist of this case, the hacker also refunded the money after the sale. Cross-border money laundering activities are also possible through the exchange of NFTs. Professional and organized money launderers can put on the market worthless NFTs and buy them for large sums of money to then resell the NFT into other accounts they indirectly own for the purpose of transferring funds across jurisdictions, masked as NFT art trading. And these are, of course, only a small fraction of possibilities for criminals to run money laundering schemes via NFTs. If you're keen to learn more about key risk indicators to spot links between art and money laundering, there is a useful guidance on the UK HMRC portal where you can see a list of key risk indicators with notes explaining how the risk can actually unfold. I think those are very interesting, and if you are strengthening your controls in this sector, it is definitely worth taking a look. I'm now at the end of this video focused on art and money laundering. Please leave any feedback or comments about my video in the comment space down below of this video. Also, remember to check the description of this video to find the links and references from my research. You will also see there a link to my Patreon page where you can receive copies of my presentations and support the development of my Fin Crime Agent project. And lastly, thank you for watching. I hope you have enjoyed today's video, and until next time, see you soon.